The Karenicity is unbelievable. Put up the picture. We got her name, where she works, her boss. I want to remind you of a couple of things that happened in this video. Obviously, it is telling, right? You know, she said, and I quote, "You are hurting my fetus, my unborn child." Did you all hear that part? She said that. Why did she say that? Because that bolsters her argument to do what she's attempting to do, which is theft under any other circumstance. We will call this attempted theft.
Is there any cause of action you guys are contemplating against some of these media organizations unless they tell the story fairly or at least issue some kind of retraction about what they called and did to your client and she now is getting death threats?
At this point, the bell has rung. Every news organization that has called her Karen, called her a racist, called her a thief, we will be looking at them for purposes of filing defamation claims. And the purpose of that is to ensure that no individual is ever subject to the disaster that my client is presently going through.
All right, so the media is in trouble. There's about to be massive defamation lawsuits that are going to happen to a lot of our left-wing media outlets and to some attorneys. Some attorneys like Benjamin Crump is in trouble because unfortunately they defamed this woman. So here's the headline from Fox News. Attorney for NYC hospital worker slams media after viral bike video dispute. Without question, she's been defamed. Now, we say that a lot of times, but let's go through the facts of what actually happened so I can show you that, yeah, it looks like she's been defamed. So if it's your first time here, this is the way we do our thing. We look at the facts, we look at the law, we look at the spin from both sides, and then you make the conclusion. So let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about the facts. What happened in this case? So here are the stone cold facts. On May 12, 2023, this woman has gone to a city bike rack to pick up her bike. Now, these are the facts. She's just completed a 12-hour shift. She's 6 months pregnant, and she rented the city bike remotely, so by the time she gets to the bike rack, she can pick it up. Now, when she arrives at the bike rack to the bike that she's just checked out, she sees this man on her bike taking it away. Now, there's something I have to mention to you guys. There's a common scam that goes on in NYC when it comes to city bikes. See, there are people who wait by the bike racks, waiting until someone checks out the bike. And the reason why they do that is because they essentially want to steal bikes that were rented by other people. And if that was to happen, where if someone steals a bike that you rented, that's on your account, then Citibank is going to charge you $1,200 to replace that bike because you are allegedly the person that took it out. So when this woman gets to the bike rack, she sees this guy on her bike, the bike that she's rented, claiming that he took it out. Now, at this point, we have 5 young black men and 1 woman who is 6 months pregnant and has just finished a 12-hour shift. And they are trying to take the bike that she allegedly has already paid for. So let's see what happens.
No, record him.
Help me! Please help me!
This is not your bike.
Please help me!
This is not your bike. This is not your bike.
Please help me! Help!
We have 1 woman who's 6 months pregnant who's just done a 12-hour shift, and you have 5 young men who are trying to take this bike that she's rented. And I don't think she wants to pay $1,200 to allow this guy to just ride off with the bike. So she's screaming, help. Someone help her, because these guys want to take this bike.
Please get off me!
Hey, what the fuck is going on, bro?
Yo, don't not take it,
bro. Now you're not getting the bike, bro.
Hey, now you're not getting the bike, bro.
Help!
You're not getting the
Get
bike.
off me,
I'm
dude.
not. Bro,
Why you took his phone? What's wrong with you?
You're not
Don't touch
touching
his
my
phone.
phone.
Do not touch his phone.
I'm not touching you. You putting your stomach on my hand.
No, dude, stop. No, dude, stop. No. I said no. I said sit down.
Please help me!
She's just crying.
You're not crying. I got
Stupid.
I got
It's
your
my
video.
bike. I'm drunk.
Wait, you took it out?
Point, you clearly see she is trying to push the bike back onto the bike rack to reset the bike. Now, what does that do? Well, by resetting the bike, then it clears it from her account. And this young man who's standing there, he could easily just pay for the bike again and remove it, and there will be no problems. So she's desperately, again, this woman is 6 months pregnant. These are 5 men who are yelling and screaming at her, and she's just trying to reset the bike by putting it back into the bike rack to lock it, so there is no issue when it comes to who's being charged for the bike in case something happens.
Hassan, you pulled it out? Hassan,
I don't give a fuck.
Hassan, you pulled it out?
This is my bike. It's on my account. Please move.
All right, so why don't we reset the bike?
I'm not resetting the bike.
It's his. It's his.
Reset it. I'm gonna pull it out on your account.
You're an actor.
I don't give a fuck.
You see what happened? Another guy comes up and says, hey, let's just reset the bikes, right? And then you take it out on your account. Nobody's going to be charged, right? The bike didn't go anywhere. But they specifically say, no, we don't want to reset the bike.
Please move.
All right, so why don't we reset the bike?
I'm not resetting the bike.
It's his.
Reset it. I'm gonna pull it out on your account.
You're an actor.
I don't give a fuck.
We don't care. We want to take the bike. Now, why wouldn't you want to reset the bike? Just to end any confusion. That's because this seems like, again, I'm going to use the word allegedly here, that this is part of that whole scheme to just wait by the bike rack. Somebody takes a bike out, checks the bike out, and they take it and then claim that they've actually rented it. So again, this guy comes out of nowhere and says, hey, just reset the bike. This is not even a big deal. They refused. They refused to reset the bike. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Well, that's because it's my opinion that they were trying to have her pay for the bike that this guy is going to ride.
Please move.
All right, so why don't we reset the bike?
I'm not resetting the bike.
It's his.
Reset it. I'm gonna pull it out on your account.
You're an actor.
I don't give a fuck.
This is my fake crying.
Guys,
This is fake crying. Stop fake crying.
Hey, stop touching me. I don't touch you.
Hold up.
Hey, stop touching me. Stop touching me.
Why don't you take this bike?
Stop touching me.
I will.
Exactly. So take
Fuck out of here.
it. So take it.
You're stupid ass. Fuck out of here. Dumbass. Your baby gonna come out with
Wait, how you stop crying?
So now the hospital worker has provided this receipt that shows on May 12th, 2023 in the evening that she rented bike 5603915 from that particular bike rack. Now, this gentleman was saying that he also rented the bike at the same time. Now, we see here from the same video that we saw of the altercation, as you can see, the bike that they're arguing over, the bike that he has his hand on, is 5603915, the exact same number as on the receipt presented by the hospital worker. So now we have a receipt from this woman who says that she rented this bike on that day in the evening, and we have this unidentified man who's shown no proof or anything. Matter of fact, people don't even know who this guy is. And he's claiming he rented the bike, but no one has any receipts or anything to even show that he even has a claim. So the question is, do you think him and those other 5 guys were part of that scam to try to get someone to rent the bike and then take the bike? Or do you think that they honestly believe that they rented the bike and this was just some confusion? So now you guys know the facts, but now we turn to the law. So we're talking defamation. Now, there's something I have to just explain really quickly. The reason news outlets say things like allegedly is so they won't be sued for defamation. Now, this is to make it clear that these things are only allegations and not facts. See, if you state things that are not true, this could lead to a massive defamation lawsuit. Look at Fox News. They just paid hundreds of millions of dollars because, as a news organization, they were knowingly lying to their audience about the election being stolen. Now, in this case, this woman has a claim for what's known as defamation per se. This is defamation in which you claim as fact that someone's committed a crime. If that person is able to prove this is false, then likely you are going to have to pay them some money. And since this woman is not a public figure like Kim Kardashian or Taylor Swift, she only has to show that this was done by negligence. Simply put, she only has to show that the news organizations didn't properly research the issue before making these factual claims. She doesn't have to prove that they knew it was false and said it anyway, just that they did not do their due diligence in reporting the story. So what are we looking for? Well, we're looking for false statements that we can prove false. And these false statements have to be about criminal activity. They have to be published to a third party, and we're looking for negligence in the reporting. For instance, not stating that these were allegations and not facts, and the news organization is giving a false impression that this woman committed a crime, like the crime of theft. Now, let's start with Dr. Richey from the Young Turks. Now, he's going to claim that this woman straight up stole the bike, and they don't even try to say allegedly. Look at the title on the screen, the bottom third. It says, Karen uses white tears to steal e-bike from Black rider. And he's going to just plainly say that she committed a crime, the crime of theft. Listen to it.
The Karenicity is unbelievable. Put up the picture. We got her name, where she works, her boss. I want to remind you of a couple of things that happened in this video. Obviously, it is telling, right? You know, she said, and I quote, "You are hurting my fetus, my unborn child." Did you all hear that part? She said that. Why did she say that? Because that bolsters her argument to do what she's attempting to do, which is theft under any other circumstance. We will call this attempted theft if the black male went up to the white female who paid for her opportunity to utilize the device and he decided to grab it and try to take it. We will call that clearly attempted theft. So let's call it as it is.
So this video is clearly stating as fact that this woman committed the crime of attempted theft. Now, this video has since been removed by Dr. Rashad Richey because they're trying to save face and avoid a defamation lawsuit. Now, listen to the difference in the way Dr. Rashad Richey is reporting on the story now, because he knows that he's facing a defamation lawsuit because he said this woman has committed crimes.
So let me contextualize this properly, okay? Naturally, we reported on a viral video as the facts were presented at that time. By the time we reported on this video, well, there was no actual statement yet from the other side. The hospital had a statement at that time, and they were troubled by what they saw as well. So were we. Now, if this is true, which confirmation is still pending, still trying to find the individuals who are part of this narrative on the other side. If it is true, it does prove, in my opinion, that Ms. Comrie had a good faith belief that she, in fact, had a right to the bike. But that doesn't mean the young men did not. It doesn't mean they did not have a good faith belief that the bike was not hers. That part of the story is important too.
Now, I need you to listen to what he just said. The 5 men who were there, who were trying to take this bike that was rented by someone else, they provide absolutely nothing. They have no receipts. Matter of fact, they're not even saying anything, right? He doesn't even know who these people are, but he's giving them full benefit of the doubt, essentially saying they may have had a good faith belief, right? He doesn't know anything like that. But earlier when it came to this woman, he claimed that she was a thief. He didn't talk about this whole, she may have a good faith belief that she rented the bike. He didn't say any of that, right? She had to provide receipts before he even allowed the conversation to move that, hey, she may be correct. She got no benefit of any doubt. She was a thief. And the reason was, let's say the quiet part out loud. It's because she was white and he needed the narrative to be she's evil. That's where we got this from. But Rashad understands now, because I know his lawyer's probably giving him a call. You got a problem because they're talking about suing you for defamation.
Yelling, help me, when there's a conflict over a bicycle in the middle of the street and there's a young black male next to you, that could be a very dangerous situation for something that's basically a civil dispute.
Now, even here, he has to stretch the facts because he needs you to believe that these men were victims in some way. Think about it. There were 5 young men. Forget about whatever race they were. 5 young men and 1 pregnant woman coming off of a 12-hour shift. She rented the bike, allegedly, and they were trying to take it from her. Of course, she's going to yell, "Help me, help me." That's reasonable for someone in her position. 1 woman, 5 men trying to take the property she just rented. But Richey is caught. See, he can't tell his audience he jumped the gun. He can't tell his audience he just saw a white person and thought evil devil. So he has to pretend that she is in some way wrong by yelling, "Help me," when 5 men are trying to take her property. That's why she was yelling help. So think about it. And even go back, rewind this video just a couple of minutes before I started speaking. And here, he's not going to say there were 5 young men there. He's trying to say there was only 1 young man there. No, there were 5. So unfortunately, Dr. Richey is desperate to keep what little credibility I think he has left. Also have to be extremely clear of what Dr. Rashad Richey did to this poor woman. He doxed her. He put out her full name. He told people where she worked and essentially advocated for her to lose her job because she rented a bike and 5 young men tried to take it from her. So what did Richey do? He removed the video in hopes of avoiding a defamation lawsuit. Now let's turn to another race grifter who also has to delete their statements because they may face a defamation lawsuit. That person's name is Benjamin Crump. Here is Benjamin Crump's statement about the incident.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump tweeting, "This is unacceptable," and "She grossly tried to weaponize her tears to paint this man as a threat. This is exactly the type of behavior that has endangered so many black men in the past."
Now, you see how Ben Crump put "steal" in all caps? Now, he deleted this in an attempt to avoid a defamation claim. This is what happens when you jump the gun and try to make everyone seem racist. And he wasn't the only one. For instance, Yahoo News, look at their headline. White woman caught on video trying to steal black youth's bike in New York City. There's no allegedly. This is a statement of fact. This is why she should be suing Yahoo News. Here's the Independent. They even deleted their whole article. New York health worker placed on leave after falsely accusing his black man of stealing bike. But when you click on the link, it's gone. The story's gone. Why? Because they're trying to hide from a defamation lawsuit. And here are some other videos of people who are just clearly defaming this woman. She's going to be a millionaire. Listen to this stuff.
And the real lack of fairness that seems to have been there, or skepticism about what this video showed. Just take a listen at some of the clips.
Here we have yet another tale of systemic racism in America.
Hello, Sarah Jane Comrie. Absolutely disgusting and revolting move you tried there. Shout out to those guys there who showed absolute restraint. This tactic is used on men of color quite often.
She thinks that she's viewed as a victim because she's white, and she thinks that. That's obvious in this America that we all live in.
That's from the local NBC station. Is there any cause of action you guys are contemplating against some of these media organizations unless they tell the story fairly, or at least issue some kind of retraction about what they called and did to your client, and she now is getting death threats?
At this point, the bell has rung. Every news organization that has called her Karen, called her a racist, called her a thief, we'll be looking at them for purposes of filing defamation claims. And the purpose of that is to ensure that no individual is ever subject to the disaster that my client is presently going through.
My question to you out there in YouTube land: should this woman sue all these news organizations, NBC, ABC, the Young Turks, all these news organizations? Should she sue them for defamation per se, because they all said that she was stealing this bike from this innocent black man, and comes to find out it was her bike? She's the one that presented the receipts. He was trying to take the bike from her. Let me know in the comments section. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you next time. Peace.